Hello, everyone. This is Latanya Price coming to you this week with another video blog. As we all well should know, hopefully, if not, get connected with me because right now we are underway with the Work It, Write It 30-day writing challenge. I have been getting tons of feedback, and I've actually had some people just kind of sending me just some little ideas here and there just to kind of help review. I'm not going to claim to be an expert as a writer or as an author or any of those things. But if you wish for me just to review some things, that door is open. And I'll give you the details on how you can sign up. But I first always want to make sure that I introduce myself and that you know who I am and how I love to help people. And so, as a result of working with me, Christian women and women of faith are more determined, they're more empowered to personalize their faith. And we do this by helping to increase their self-awareness. We do this with study and trusted knowledge. We also, discover that personal spiritual DNA, as well as, I help to create a distinctive plan of action which are based on their own personal goals. And out of all of this, women are just they achieve this level of boldness, this level of confidence that helps them to unleash their supernatural abilities for unlimited possibilities. And so that is what I do. And so tonight, as I stated, these video blogs right now, they're kind of surrounding the whole, 30-day writing challenge right now. Last week, I did a video blog and I showed how, hey, I am with you all and I am still with you all. I know the holiday, probably a lot of us maybe just took some time to rest, and that's quite all right. It is okay. Definitely catch up. You know what you need to do. And so, it's quite all right. But I, just definitely got back. I rested myself. So I just got right back on the bandwagon and start getting some more writing in. So I got everything pretty much caught up, and I'm pretty well confident that I'll be able to, solidify and get things finished at the deadline that I've set for myself. So last week I had talked about the 3 essential components to successfully self-publish your book. This week, I'm going to discuss how to tactfully submit your final manuscript and book cover. So as stated, I've helped people with, getting their book self-published, and usually with the self-publishing process, of course, it's done via internet, basically. The self-publishing process, although there's other methods I've actually heard of, but this method is literally done online, through a company, a business like createspace.com, lulu.com, and all of those. And so when you actually are working with a online company like that, that's kind of like that print on demand kind of thing, you have to kind of upload your final manuscript, which is nothing more than just the interior of the book, and then the book cover, which is nothing more than, what the graphic designer, or if you're a little savvy in the graphic design area, what you created. And so when you do this, I always try to help people, especially if they're kind of wanting to ensure that the process not only goes smoothly, but even quickly, is to use a template found on the self-publishing website. Now, I can only speak once again for createspace.com because that's what I use. Createspace.com actually gives you templates to use. So like for a 6x9 average size book, which is the standard books that we find in most bookstores, even createspace.com will tell you that's pretty much the standard size. There's other sizes and other forms of books, but 6x9 is usually the standard one. So they actually have a template that you can download. Now, it's an MS Word or Microsoft Word format, but it's formatted to fit within that 6x9 measurement, so to speak. So basically meaning like they give you a template with all the margins are set. They give you where basically you can type in there or you can copy and paste in there. and it'll actually format it to fit exactly into the interior of the book. That to me is one of the easiest things I learned, especially when I did it myself, because of course when I first did it and I was trying to figure out what those margin settings were, it was so difficult. But then when I figured out they had a template, I was like, oh, well, here you go. It made it so much easier. So always look for a template. Even CreateSpace.com offers a template for the book cover. It will allow you to even do like an estimate, basically. So basically, you're going to kind of put in the number of pages you're thinking your book is going to be, the type of I want to say the type of paper, if you're going to do white, if you're going to do colored. I believe the density, or I guess the thickness of the paper changes if you change color, or if you use colored ink within your interior or your manuscript. And so they will then generate a template, a book cover template, where it'll tell you based upon, that size, it'll, give you the actual measurements of, where your images or where your text should be. It gives all of that information, and you can either use it yourself to make your book cover, or you can pass it along to the person that is doing your book cover for you. And trust me, if you do that, pass it along to the one that's doing your book cover, they're going to be ever so grateful. They're going to be grateful. So think about the templates, okay? So look for templates. Those are so easy. It makes the process so much easier. And so then always be willing to review and make edits. That's the second thing. When we take the time, and reviewing process takes time. Believe me, I swear, it takes time. Even if you hire someone, the back and forth, you reviewing, they reviewing, you accepting their corrections, you making corrections yourself, or you really meant this when they found it this way, you need to finish this complete, it wasn't a complete statement, or, it didn't make sense, it didn't flow, all those different things. And this is all about the manuscript. Let's not even get into the book cover, because sometimes that can be a back and forth, because the book cover may not be conveying the right message, or the imagery that the graphic designer is using might not be what you had in mind. That is a process. It is definitely a process, but we must be willing to do all these things, and we just have to be persistent and persevere. That's the final little note for tonight, is to really persevere. Everything that goes through a self-publishing process, it can seem a little overwhelming. I won't lie, especially for someone that does it for the very first time. But it is possible. It is so possible, because when you actually just realize, number one, it's a process, and you just have to trust it. You have to go through it. You have to just know that you're not the only one that actually has gone through some stumbling blocks and trying to understand everything that's encompassed in the self-publishing process. Taking the time and recognizing that, it's going to be okay. It's all right to, make some corrections. And, a lot of times, especially when you're working with people and you're working with others who are more familiar with, editing and proofreading your book, or I should say not necessarily just your book, but anybody's book, to, a graphic designer that is very familiar with creating book covers, normally taking on their suggestions can help. It really can, especially when you do get someone that is very experienced. But even with someone that might be, and I had the suggestion back in the first video, if you work with a student and they might be, doing it as a project or as an extra way to kind of build their portfolio for their, for their college, portfolio that they might have to, accumulate throughout the 4 years or however many years they're in the, college for their degree. And they might, understand some things. Even though they're in college, you might want to consider what they see and what kind of feedback they may have, because, it is that outside eye looking in. And, I always encourage, taking that time to just have someone just review. So many times we can look at something, and it could be anything. look at something and think it's perfect, and we don't see a mistake, we don't see nothing. And then all of a sudden we get it to somebody else and say, hey, look at this for me. What do you think? And next thing you know, they'll be like, yeah, is that supposed to be there? Wait, you missing a word in this sentence. Wait, you doing this. Because we get so used to our own pattern of thinking. We get used to our own pattern of speaking. And so a lot of times it just helps to have that extra review. And I strongly encourage that extra review. So tonight was more of a simple night. It was really just trying to make sure that I wanted to help people understand that you have to remain persistent. You have to be tactful when it comes to uploading and submitting that final and finished manuscript and book cover, because the process of review can be daunting. It can be very overwhelming, but even in and of itself, it's still a hurdle that you can overcome. A lot of times, the writing process, yes, that's definitely can be the longest of the actual, becoming an author process is the writing. But then you have that next hurdle, so to speak, is to have that reviewed and to have it edited. And then you have the book cover. But even during all of this, it's okay to just remember that you just keep telling yourself, I'm about to be this author. I'm about to help someone. Someone is going to get this book and be encouraged. Even if it's just that one person, even if it's two people. Sometimes, yes, do we wish to be that New York Times bestseller? Someday, sure. And if that is the destiny for you, then by all means, go after it. But in the end, there are stories that need to be published and need to be released because there is somebody out there waiting for their release. And that is why I am doing this challenge. That is why I just encourage people to write their story. I know a lot of people feel, it costs too much money. It takes too much time. I will admit it does take somewhat of an investment monetarily, but also it takes investment of time. It does. But I do believe anybody can do it. No matter your age, no matter what level of access you have. If you necessarily don't have a computer at home, you have access to a library. You have access to a computer if you work. You have access to maybe a close relative that you every now and again get to go visit. You have access to something. There's some people that I've actually encouraged to, because they don't necessarily have like the computer at home or where they can type out their book, but they can speak into their phone. And, a lot of these smartphones, and I keep looking because this is where my smartphone is, a lot of us have that talk to text feature on our phones. And so I encourage people, hey, just start off with that if nothing else. Maybe, if you have to handwrite it, that's fine. But if you're going to self-publish, and I feel that self-publishing through an online mechanism or company is a lot easier than trying to do it by hand and everything else, or doing it by, the whole manual typewriter or something like that, or typing it and printing it and then go trying to find a place to help you bind the book, and all that can be very tedious. Definitely tedious. So why not use a place like createspace.com that will help you? And then, of course, a lot of people are like, well, I don't have MS Word. I don't have Microsoft, Office, that whole, Word and all that's encompassed in that. That's fine. Guess what? There's a lot of ways to convert that, MS Word document into whatever word processing function that you have on your computer. There are ways. Even people that, maybe they don't use, the PC. If you've seen the commercials, the combat between the PC and the Mac, so to speak, the Apple computers. Even if you're on an Apple computer, there are still ways. Google it, research it. I've had people ask me and they say, I work with an Apple, I work with a Mac. I haven't used one in quite some time, but I do know that there's definitely some ways to actually get it done even on the Macs. It's possible. I just don't want anyone to keep using excuses. I just want to help people to really just get past all the excuses, get past all the fears, And that's why I'm doing this. And I really hope that people are just more encouraged and empowered. Like I said, right now we have underway the Work It, Write It 30-Day Writing Challenge. How do you join? If you haven't joined yet, visit my website, which is www.effectiveliving-llc.com. You can also, if I'm, Facebook, I'm on Facebook. You can find me by my name, Latanya Price, Latanya M. Price, or you can find the business page, which is Effective Living LLC. I've been doing a lot of blasting on Facebook, more with it. I do some on Twitter, which I do have a Twitter account and Instagram account, which Instagram, that's Effective Living LLC, and then Twitter is the Coach L. Price accounts, but I do a lot of more on the Facebook side. And then of course, once you sign up, you're connected with me. You'll be getting weekly encouragements. You'll instantly get tools, powerful tools. You'll actually get a template. You'll actually get a template for the manuscript. You'll actually get that. You'll get the calendar of just encouragement, and you'll get so much more. And so I want to make sure people are just not only empowered, but they have that momentum and that motivation, so to speak, to be trained and to want to learn all that they need in order to get that book birthed. So like I said, if you haven't signed up yet, be sure you sign up. At whatever point you sign up, you're connected. You are devoting that next 30 days to just focusing on writing. If you don't quite finish, it's okay. You're just devoting that time to that 30 days to writing. And some people have been like, well, what if I don't finish? What if you don't finish? Guess what? You still have accomplished a great accomplishment, because you have written way more than what you had 30 days ago. It's still a great accomplishment. There's no little accomplishments. There's no failures in this particular process. You can keep going even after that fact. And this is all leading up to a empowerment training, which I'm definitely am going to be promoting as well. I'm going to be making sure people are aware of this. This is going to be where I will live train how to submit everything, how to create some things, some marketing tools and everything else. And I plan on doing all of that. It'll be a 5-week training, live, recorded. That way, no matter at what point you are ready to self-publish, you'll have the recordings, you'll have the training available to you at that time. So stay tuned for that. So that training, that empowerment training, is coming up in October. And like I said, for that, you'll have access for life, or at least however long the email address you sign up with. You'll have access to the videos. And so it's going to be recorded, and it's going to be just the training, and you'll have access to that at any time. So even if you're not quite there yet, it's okay. I'm still going to do it live. I'm going to give that training 5 weeks. I'm going to give detailed, in-depth training live. So I definitely want people to get that as well. So I'm going to conclude for tonight. I hope you are encouraged. Stay encouraged. Don't give up. It's going to be all right. You're going to make this. Keep resting. Keep having moments of rest. Keep having moments of celebration. If you're at 5,000 words, if you're at 6,000 words, 10,000 words, however many words, if you're at 2,000 words, however many words you're at this point, it's okay. This is your book. This is your story. This is yours. Celebrate no matter what. All right. Until next week, talk to you again. Bye.